You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. LSU won this weekend 3 in a row. They beat New Mexico 38-0. We know that. And LSU's getting ready to take on Auburn Saturday at Jordan-Hare Stadium. But as is customary, the SEC on Monday announces the television schedule for the following week's games. And so we found out today that LSU is going to play Tennessee at 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN. Yes, LSU and Tennessee is slated for a morning kickoff in Tiger Stadium. That sucks. Sucks. There's no way around it. And very candidly, from a personal standpoint, professionally, a morning kickoff is great for us. The kickoff at 11, game's done by 2:30. T-Bob and I will do whiskey and wine. We're done by 4. I have the whole rest of my Saturday. I can take my wife out to dinner. I can play with my kid. I can relax, take a nap. It's great. And I'm telling you, I hate it for this. It is so rare now, just considering what college football is, everything you've heard a million times. Stadiums are too big, the home viewing experience is too good, the traffic stinks, concessions, why pay to sit in a little bitty seat and be uncomfortable? I get all of it. You're right, all of it. I get it. But there's maybe 1 or 2 times a year where you have an opportunity for a moment. You know what I mean? Like a scene. Bama has the opportunity to be that this year. But that's going to be a 2:30 game. Just prepare yourself. That's going to be 2:30 in Tiger Stadium. The LSU-Alabama game is going to be 2:30 on CBS. Ole Miss is likely going to be, look at the SEC slate that day. The Ole Miss game is likely going to be 2:30. There's nothing else on the schedule that day, except maybe Bama, Mississippi State. So you're going to have some more day games coming. It's just rare that you have an opportunity like LSU Florida 2019. Just pandemonium at night in Tiger Stadium, where Tiger Stadium feels like the reputation Tiger Stadium has rightly earned over the years. That wasn't Tiger Stadium against New Mexico. That wasn't Tiger Stadium against Southern. It's not going to be Tiger Stadium against UAB. It's just rare that you get that anymore. Tennessee coming in, having not been in Baton Rouge since 2010, 12 years apart, Tennessee being ranked in the top 10. I mean, that had the possibility of kind of, like, if you want me to draw a parallel, kind of like Nick Saban's first year in Baton Rouge. I mean, unfortunately, LSU lost to UAB, but the next week, they took on Tennessee when Tennessee was still at their pinnacle. They were still an elite program. I think Tennessee was maybe just outside the top 10 in that game when LSU played them in 2000. Game went to overtime, and LSU knocked off Tennessee in a crazed scene in Tiger Stadium. It was awesome. You had the opportunity for that. And look, Tennessee's off this week. So Tennessee has their open date, so they got a week to heal, get ready for LSU. And so they'll come in ranked in the top 10. And if LSU beats Auburn, I don't think they'll be ranked. But you're going to have a team that's won 4 in a row, and you'll have a scene. It's not to say you can't have a great atmosphere during the day. LSU Georgia 2003 remains one of the greatest environments I've ever seen for any college football game ever. And it was similar. You had an ascending LSU team. Georgia was in the top 10. It was like, here's your opportunity to prove it, LSU. And it was a magnificent day in Tiger Stadium. Skylar Green's catch. It was chaos. It was awesome. It was everything that anyone who's ever heard tales of Tiger Stadium would believe. So last year against Florida, you had an LSU team that had fired its coach. Well, they actually, no, let me take that back. They fired the coach the next day. But they had just gotten their behinds kicked at Kentucky, and everybody knew it was over. And you didn't have a packed out Tiger Stadium at 11 a.m., but you had a great atmosphere. So you can have it. But it's not going to be what it would be if that were a night game. So why is LSU-Tennessee going to be at 11 a.m.? The way the conference television contracts work, CBS gets the first choice, and they get a day-night doubleheader one time a year, the 7 o'clock and 2:30 day-night doubleheader. In years past, that's been LSU-Bama for a lot of years. CBS has to determine before the season what weekend it wants to designate for its day-night doubleheader. So before the season, they looked at this and went, okay, Bama, A&M, for obvious reasons. A&M beat Bama last year, the Jimbo Nick stuff, get it. So they said, all right, that's going to be our night game. So the only question was what was going to be the 2:30 game, because they got to pick first and second. So they're choosing between Georgia, Auburn, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, and LSU, Tennessee. The rest of the slate is Ole Miss, Vandy, South Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri, Florida, Arkansas against Mississippi State. So there are games that stand out, obviously. I'm told that the SEC and LSU pushed CBS to take LSU, Tennessee at 2:30. They did not. They decided to take, of course, A&M, Bama at 7 o'clock, and then Auburn, Georgia at 2:30. And you may wonder why, because I know what you're going to say. Auburn's going to be a 3-touchdown underdog, and Georgia's going to pummel them and all that stuff. And you're right. You're 100% right. LSU, Tennessee has the promise of being a better game than Auburn, Georgia. But CBS doesn't care about what's going to be the better game. CBS cares about what's going to bring the most eyeballs, and what brings the most eyeballs is a brand. That is why, forever and ever, Bama's always on CBS. When you're number one in the country, it doesn't matter if you're playing Mississippi State or Vanderbilt or Arkansas. CBS is going to look at the brand and put it on. That Georgia is the defending national champion. Georgia is the number one team in the country. There are going to be people who are interested because it's Georgia and Auburn. That's just the nature. And you can say, well, they wouldn't be interested in LSU and Tennessee. Sure, they would, and that's not to say they wouldn't. But Georgia, Auburn, with Georgia being number one in the country, defending national champion, is going to be more appealing to a national audience. Not you and me that know the SEC. We're talking about a national audience. Look, go back to 2011 when LSU was number one in the country for the bulk of the season. LSU played every damn game during the day that year because they just kept ending up on CBS because they were LSU. I mean, sometimes it goes that way. They know what brands sell. Let me illustrate this in reverse. This week, what's a better game this week? Number 7 Kentucky at number 14 Ole Miss, or LSU at Auburn? Unranked teams, and one probably about to fire its coach. What's the better game? Kentucky Ole Miss or LSU Auburn? We all know the answer. Kentucky's number 7 in the country. Ole Miss is number 14. They're undefeated. You have 2 undefeated teams. That's the better game. Why is LSU Auburn prime time on ESPN and Kentucky Ole Miss is at 11 a.m.? Because it's LSU and Auburn. That's why. You have 2 brands that on Saturday night when people are flipping channels or looking what game to stream, they're going to go, oh, LSU, Auburn. They're going to think Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Jamar Chase, Nick Fairley. You get it. It's LSU and Auburn. It's bigger. You have 2 bigger brands, which is what the networks care about. What's going to bring the most eyeballs? So you look ahead, and it makes sense. You're going to get Georgia, the number 1 team in the country, the defending national champion, at 2:30 on CBS. And ESPN, this was the one option that could have put this game at night. This is the one thing ESPN could have done. ESPN could have passed on LSU Tennessee because ESPN cannot put a primetime game on opposite CBS when they have the primetime window. So it's not a possibility to put LSU Tennessee on ESPN in primetime opposite the CBS night game. But the SEC network has a primetime window. Paulie, pull that schedule up again if you would. So I'll remind you, last year's day-night doubleheader when A&M played Bama, that was the night LSU played Kentucky and Lexington. It was a night game, but it was on the SEC Network. South Carolina, Kentucky is the night game on SEC Network a week from Saturday. So, after CBS picked Bama A&M and then Auburn, Georgia for 2:30, the option for ESPN, if they wanted to do LSU a favor, is they could have passed on LSU-Tennessee and maybe taken Arkansas, Mississippi State, or South Carolina, Kentucky, putting that at 11 a.m. on ESPN, and then LSU-Tennessee could have gone to the night window on SEC Network. But what happens, what show ends at 11 a.m. on ESPN? It's College Game Day. So you're always going to have a massive audience on the College Game Day's biggest audience every week. Like its peak audience is always going to be right at 11 o'clock Central when Corso does his headgear pick. Everybody wants to see the pick'em segment, the guest picker, picking all the games, Corso's headgear. That's when your audience is at its peak. So if you're ESPN, you're thinking, okay, we're going to dovetail from Corso's headgear into Arkansas, Mississippi State, or LSU, Tennessee. Top 10 Tennessee in Baton Rouge against LSU Tiger Stadium. That's going to draw a national audience. Again, it sucks. I hate it. But I get why they did what they did. If they were doing LSU a favor, ESPN would have passed and let the SEC Network televise LSU, Tennessee at 6:30 p.m. in Tiger Stadium, and that would have been a madhouse. It would have been awesome. But they didn't. They looked out for themselves and their ratings and their advertisers, and part of me gets it. And yes, it sucks miserably. I'm not defending it. Please don't misunderstand me. I hate it. But I'm just explaining why it happened the way it did, that LSU is going to play Tennessee at 11 a.m. People hate it, rightfully, but it's going to happen. So get your rest on Friday. Get up early Saturday. Pop that first top early. Be ready to roll 11 a.m. when they tee it up and kick it off with LSU and Tennessee, because that is going to be a massive opportunity for this LSU program with Tennessee coming in a week from Saturday at 11 a.m. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.